wanted to ask about concentration.
Ah.
What is it and how to use it, and just to make sure.
But you must have some specific question. Cannot be general concentration.
Like, I've read about
holding
onto the eye and concentration on the eye.
Yes, yes.
And I'm not sure I understand it all.
This is very simple, actually. I don't find anything more simple than this. If you find that many spiritual practices now is too tiring, it's too difficult, and lot of exercise, lot of time, all this. They say in these times people, they don't want to give so much energy. Then I point you something very simple. That sense in you, the feeling I am. Nobody put it there. Not even your parents didn't put this feeling there. The feeling I exist, I am. That simple sense in which you know you are. When you say I is I am. And the real implication of I am, it is consciousness. It is the godly principle inside each form that says I am. But that feeling I am, as soon as it manifests inside the body, it needs the body, because through the body the I am can taste experiencing. But somehow identification arises with the body, the instrument, and the feeling I am the body comes out of it. When the feeling I am the body registers in the consciousness, and then other thoughts and other associations can come. I am the body, this is me. I am a woman, I am Israeli, I am English, I am this, I am that. All these other things can come onto that root idea that I am this body. Then I am the doer. I am the one who lives my life. All of these comes into play. And that is called ignorance. You see? So, the I am itself is a very mysterious principle, because it appears as though God says I am and the devil says I am also. You see? I call it a kind of like a chameleon principle. It changes according to the background. So I can be very personal. When you say I, it can be very personal, and sometimes it's constantly shifting shape and size. From I am very personal, this is me, who you're talking to, and so on. And at the same, very next second, I can be in the place of just the observing of it. And this observer is not personal. It's impersonal. It's silent, whole, peaceful. There's a picture I've seen before in India of two birds in a tree. One is busy making a nest and all these things, and the other one is just sitting there watching. This nest building bird is the idea we have of ourselves, our life, who I am, what I've got to do in my life, my purpose. And the one that's sitting is really this feeling I am, which is simply watching. So the I am, the intuitive sense I am, which has no birthday, it has no shape, it has no good days or bad days, it has no psychological history. In its presence, it's watching the feeling of the me, who has a definite context, who's a definite person with a definite personality, definite goals, ambition, attachments, relationships, all of that. That one is busy taking place. This one is emerging out of the one that watches somehow. They're kind of one, and yet there's a difference. So what I say is the sense I am should be allowed to stay only by itself. You try it. Don't allow the sense I am to contact or connect with other concepts and then somehow roll into a story or some picture. Just keep that sense I am to itself. Other thoughts will come to play. Say, come, come. Sometimes in the beginning, when you try this, you find tremendous distraction comes whoa, like waves. But also you're aware of those. You don't have to struggle with them. Try and find that silence, the silent I amness, and stay with it. Don't worry about what comes and goes. Stay only with that sense I am. Don't judge, don't interpret. Stay only with the intuition I am. Gradually, all these noises around will begin to drift off into the distance. And the sense I am, that intuition, will be felt to be alone, effortlessly. It has no edge, no boundary, no intention, no attachments, no desires. And it shines as pure peace, natural joy, spaciousness, and an intuitive sense that there is no ends or beginnings here. Get accustomed to this contemplation. That is, each time the attention goes out, it wants to contact other thoughts and to play and to manifest into more stories, bring it back into the I amness, stabilize the attention just in that place of I am. Get used to that current, a kind of current of joy, of serene detachment. It's there with you. It's not difficult. In the beginning, it might feel like a bumpy ride, but gradually something becomes easier and easier. And then in a short time, just the turning of the attention, immediately everything is space again. You get used to this feeling that inside this body and the body itself, it feels like space. Even if you got a big body like mine, it still feel like space. Like space moving through space. Your sense of being is space.
And the question?
The question, who am I?
Yeah.
This question. Yes.
So how do I combine the two, like
okay.
concentration and the
question? You can start only with what I've told you just now. Then the natural sense of the feeling I am is there by itself. The perfume arising out of this I am, I said, is peace and joy. This you will experience. Maybe in that state for a while the question, who am I, doesn't come. Just only joy and space. At some point the feeling I arises. Strong reaction, judgments, fears. Then they come in. When they come also, don't struggle to push them down or to be distracted from them. Let them happen fully in the body. Don't look for any pill. Let it happen. Keep your eyes open. Feel their presence energetically in the body. How fear feels. How jealousy, fear of rejection, all these feelings. Let them come. The feeling, this feeling of I, this crippling sense that makes the contraction in the body, all of that, let it happen first. Rather than running quickly for remedies. Watch it. Let it be there. Two things you can do. If it comes like this, just let it happen. And you try as much as possible just to be quiet in this. Don't judge, don't pick up, don't dive in anything. Just let it happen as though you're forced to witness it, but you're not to be involved. Then gradually you may come to find a space inside which is just quiet. In the midst of this moving tension, there's a feeling of quietude. And intuitively you'll feel, I'm here. When this feeling comes, the heat is off, the trembling. Somehow, it doesn't matter. Even when that is there, it feels that that becomes peace as well also. It's amazing, this discovery. But another thing you can do is in this turbulent state, when it comes, gradually the question, who suffers this? Who is the sufferer here? Not a cynical question, innocent, no judgment. Find the sufferer, because something is going, no, I can't bear this, this is too much, I think this is going to destroy me, this is overwhelming. Find out who is speaking this thing, quietly. Who is speaking these words? Who is saying these things? Because until now they have not been questioned. You have assumed that it's you, you have identified so firmly with that. So it's as though it is you. So now you've been invited to look, who is suffering this? See if it can be found. Because it feels like the sufferer of this is something tangible. There's a lot of identity in this type of experience. Full of it. It's loaded with identity. And where there is identity, there is an I entity behind it. See if this I entity can be found. So initially, again, just to recap, if the feeling of turbulence is very strong and you feel all this noise comes up, I will tell you something, in fact, sometimes inexplicably, and some sensation comes in the body like this, fierce, very strong, trembling, panic, even panic attack, it can manifest like this. Okay. That by itself, if left by itself, you can take it. It's just there. But what happens is, as soon as these feelings come, some interpretations begin to swim up around them. And it's this interpretation and judgments that's giving off a really bad smell. And this is habit. Because as soon as these feelings manifest, we begin to interpret that this means I'm not good enough. This means that, I need to concentrate more. I need to do something. And it brings in a busyness inside, agitation, judgment, all of this. And the environment becomes very hot. That sweet ambient is disturbed. You see? So if this feeling comes very strongly, shaking inside, trembling, and sometimes you cannot identify even the message in it that is anything about anything. Sometimes it's just this. But sometimes if you're quiet, you may find what is behind it, what is the story in this feeling. You see? Maybe something is expecting something to happen. So just be quiet first and find out who is suffering here, who is expecting something, and what is being expected. Be very quiet. There are not many questions you need to ask, but these questions will have some power in themselves. Sometimes when you ask who is suffering here, suddenly, it's like a huge distraction. It is as though there's some force that doesn't want you to discover this, doesn't want you to see clearly. It appears like this. You're about to discover something that's very, very... Who is the thief in this house you're coming to discover? Huh? And suddenly, the doorbell rings and somebody is selling Tupperware. Oh, hi, how are you? This, like something comes just to put you off the scent. Then you bring it back again. Get back on this question. You will see, even if there's strong distraction come, many times when these kind of questions come, you find yourself thinking about how many different things there are in muesli. It's like you can't focus. Huh? It's time to buy a new handbag and all this type of stuff. Huh? So you have to somehow, you say, whoa, wait a minute, what's happening? If I was thinking about something else, this distraction wouldn't be there. So this is already an indication you're onto something, you see. Who is suffering this? Just see if you can actually find if the sufferer is tangible. Because up until now it's feeling that it's me and I'm here. It's like some tumor of identification. See if you can detect it. And in the very looking for this, tremendous power and energy is being released in this looking, and you are discovering nothing is there. I didn't want to say this. I prefer you tell me this. But because beings over all these centuries from all over the world have conducted this inquiry, and the finding is the same. No tangible sufferer is found, except as a thought. The sufferer is a thought. But it's a very persistent thought, a very intimate thought. You see, a very heavily sponsored thought that keeps the beingness in fragmentation, in fear, all of these things, you see. So keep up the inquiry like this. Sometimes you look, you find nothing is there, and now a great sense of relief. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Don't finish your inquiry prematurely, because even relief now, find out who is feeling relief even. Those who have really looked like this, they've not given up. They will not be distracted from this question. And like this, so much power come again in the beingness. Because it's not that you're thinking, oh, there's nobody there. You are actually discovering there's nothing here. All the cells in your body and your being are discovering there's nothing here. You're not being told this. You're discovering for yourself, you see. This is the power of the inquiry. And the more you engage with it, the more ruthless it becomes, unsparing at exposing the ego. That you're not this. You can discard this. Always successful inquiry ends in space. Again, only space and peace is there. And joy. The inquiry becomes the bodyguard of the beingness itself. Nobody has to call it into play. It comes automatically, gradually, you see. There are different aspects of inquiry. I've just outlined a few of them. Sometimes the nature is just an open sense of acceptance that whatever is happening, it's okay. I spoke about this when I told you that a good attitude is the attitude, I don't mind. I don't mind what life brings, it's okay. Not I don't care, but I don't mind. I don't have to pick and choose. I'm not shopping for experiences. You remain as that neutral seeing. There's nothing greater than this. Now, if you're like this, you're in the environment of the sage itself. They are not concerned about what shows up. It comes and goes. Even they don't even register that anything shows up at all, even. If there is something significant, it will arise spontaneously to assimilate and to see through, and all the action, everything comes together. They don't act as an individual. Like this, you come out of it. You come out of this stupor. You come out of this coma of ignorant identification back in your original being. It's here, it's here. You don't have to go anywhere for this. It's your core truth. And all of this is simply peeling away at this cataract of illusory identification is being peeled just through your looking, even just by sitting here also, without the feeling that you're doing anything. Then there are moments when there's no inquiry. Even if you try to bring it in, it doesn't happen. Then you also respect this also. You're just learning to dance with yourself. All these moves, they are coming up by themselves, announcing themselves in the presence you are. Grace is there. Trust this. Sometimes you may leave from satsang with the impression, I don't even remember anything about this satsang at all. Because you're listening more deeply in a different way. It's a listening that bypasses the mind itself sometimes. It reaches inside the heart. The heart doesn't have to remember in the same way that mind has to remember. Mind remembers to make use of things. The heart doesn't have to make use of anything. It just shines. Mind works, heart shines.